What's going on, guys? We're back with another RNG recruit interview. We have got a special 2026 offensive tackle who is getting noticed by some of the most premier schools across the nation. I am honored to have him on. He is going to be a name that is going to be remembered by anybody who's following recruiting for the next couple of years. I promise you that. We'll bring him on right now.
How's it going? Bear McWhorter, 2026 offensive lineman out of Cass High School up in Bartow County, Georgia.
How's it going, Bear? How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here.
Thank you, man. Thanks for joining us tonight, man. I truly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Well, so I always like to start off with what's your current height and weight?
Right now, I'm a verified 6'4", 295.
Okay. Is that your comfortable playing weight?
I would say so. Yes, sir. And my weight fluctuates a lot. Like one day before breakfast, I could be down to 285, and then before I go to sleep that night, I'll be 300 pounds. So I'm all over the place sometimes with that, but I would say anywhere between 290 and 300, I'm comfortable playing at.
Okay. So this offseason, man, what's kind of been your focus as far as wanting to take your game to the next level? What have you been working on to really kind of, improve your game overall?
Been focused on a lot of nutritional stuff. I've been focused the past 2 years on having the quickest feet possible, having good hands, and now it's just getting my body right and focusing on longevity, being able to play the game for longer. I'm only going into my sophomore year, and I already played a full season as a freshman, so I'm going to be playing a lot of football. So right now, I'm going to be focused on getting.
It froze for a sec.
We good?
Can you hear me?
You there?
Yeah, you just froze for a second.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead and just start from the beginning again.
All right. So this offseason, I've been focusing on like my nutrition, being able to play football for as long as I can. Going into my sophomore year now, and I've already have a full season of varsity football under my belt. So I'm going to be playing a lot of football, and I've heard from coaches that like nutrition, having your body right, is the best thing for being able to play that much football.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I like how you earlier emphasized your footwork. That's something that I've actually watched from your film, and it's something I watch on any offensive lineman's film, honestly. It's been something actually I was fortunate enough to have former NFL player and former Miami Hurricane offensive lineman Eric Winston on for an interview.
Sure.
And he explained to me about, I was asking him, what do I tell recruits, offensive linemen, what's the most important thing that they should know before heading in to college? What should they really, really work on mastering? And he was blunt, forward, straight, and he said footwork. He said the college will get your body right. They'll get you how they want to get you when you get there. But if you come in with the right footwork, they said that is what truly impresses offensive line coaches at the next level. So I'm really, really glad that you're focusing on that. And it shows on your film, honestly. It really does.
Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot. That's definitely something I've been working on. There's really something I've been working on since I started playing football. I'll be out just in my yard with the ladder, just going through all the drills I know. So
that's great, man. That's great. All that extra work pays off, man. It truly does.
Yes, sir.
So what kind of camps did you attend this offseason?
I attended quite a few. Throughout June, I may have hit up to 10 camps. Started off in Knoxville at Tennessee, and then I went over to Clemson. Then we went out to Texas. That was a really cool trip. And then I hit a couple more like Virginia, NC State, Florida, UCF, Arkansas, Alabama, Florida State. And then I think I finished it up with Georgia with that trip with the team.
That's quite the trip, quite the list there, man. That's impressive.
Yes, sir.
That kept you busy.
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
Just for the sake of the fans, I want to list off a couple of your offers here, just so they kind of have an idea, of what you're going through in your recruitment. I mean, we got Alabama, Auburn, Florida, FSU, Miami, Georgia, Louisville, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Texas, plus more. And I'm not saying just plus more small schools, plus more as in South Carolina's and other schools like that, bigger schools. I mean, you've got quite the list.
Yes,
As a
sir.
2026 recruit, how has it been so far in this process? Are you enjoying it?
It's awesome. Like it's really crazy. It started off a lot smaller than it is now, obviously. Once I got that first offer from Penn State, Louisville came the very next day. And then after that, everything just kind of tumbled into what it is now. But it's been really fun going through, getting to meet some of the best O-line guys ever, like coaching football, and just hearing what they have to say about the position and what they do to get their guys better and what I need to be doing. It's awesome. And I feel like it gives me a big leg up on other high school guys.
Valuable experience. Valuable experience.
Yes,
Kind of priceless in a way,
it is.
So as far as, I know you're 2026, and you still got a little ways, but in your opinion, who are some of the schools that have been kind of showing you the most love?
It's really everybody. Like, it's hard being a 2026. They can't just reach out to me. They're allowed to reach out to my dad because he's actually a high school coach.
Oh,
But
okay. Okay.
they can't just call me up and have
Yeah.
a conversation with me. But, you know, definitely like when I go to campuses, I can feel it. Schools like Arkansas, NC State, Tennessee,
Yeah.
Penn State. But yeah, it's really everybody. But I would just say those are some of the main ones where I feel like I go there and I can really feel all the coaches really wanting me to play for them and really feeling like that could be a place for me.
One school I definitely want to bring up here and to offer you got was University of Miami.
Yes.
Tell me about that. How did you find out about that offer?
I talked to Coach Mirabal before. I had sent him my film during the season, and nothing really came about it. So I just figured, maybe there's not as much interest over there, and just we'll see where it goes. And then so he ended up reaching out to my dad, and we got on the phone with him, and he made the offer. That was really special to me. Miami's definitely a big name, and my dad always talks to me about how good they were back when he was growing up, how they were the Alabamas, Georgias of his generation. And going down there, I just got back from there actually yesterday.
Yeah.
I could feel it. I think it's definitely back on the rise. I think Coach Mirabal is one of the best O-line guys in the country, as well as Coach Cristobal, and I think they're there to stay.
Well, speaking of Coach Cristobal, kind of by nature himself, an offensive line coach.
Yes, sir.
In your mind, is that some kind of a factor that could be important in the future to you possibly when choosing a college of having a head coach who understands the offensive line as well as someone like Cristobal does?
It's very valuable. We actually sat through a meeting with Mirabal and all the drills he showed us and spring practice and everything. Coach Cristobal standing there watching the O-line during indie periods and correcting them. So it's definitely cool, having the main man as your guy, your position group. So that's definitely a key factor, what I look at.
What was that visit like? I know it was kind of just a cookout thing, but anything that you experienced from that you'd want to share?
It was a quick visit. We got there in the morning. Where there was a camp we didn't know about, so we ended up watching Coach Mirabal coach a few guys that came and got to speak to Coach Cristobal that morning. Spoke to him a little later before I left. Got to do a photo shoot. Had a really long meeting with Coach Mirabal going over film and different plays that they run, what drills they do. So it was valuable just to see how Mirabal coaches and what it would be like playing for him and getting to know more about Coach Cristobal.
Now you've got a 2026 offensive lineman who's a teammate of yours who got an offer from Miami as well, correct?
Yes, sir. My right tackle, Kale Ellis.
Yes. Kale, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yes, Kale.
Kale Ellis?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about Kale Ellis. What should Canes fans know about him,
That's a special relationship between us. We both train at the same place, have a lot of the same offers. So every time one of us is slacking off at practice, one of us will come over to the other and we'll slap each other in the helmet, say, come on, it's time to pick it up. We'll correct each other. We'll tell each other what we did good, what we did bad. And, he's a great player. We're like identical in size. We look the same walking around. And so don't be surprised, I'll say, when a lot of other big schools come and offer him. He's already got a lot. He's got
Yeah.
Georgia, Penn State, Miami, NC State. But there's going to be a lot more rolling for him. He's a special player.
I think it's pretty cool that both you guys, especially being 2026 teammates on the offensive line, got that offer together. I think that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Yes, sir.
Well, then I got to ask, tell me about your offensive line coach. I mean, if he's producing guys like you and stuff, and two 2026 guys who are catching attention already, tell us a little bit about your offensive line coach.
Yes, sir. That's actually our head coach's son.
Okay.
So he's actually a college student right now. I think he should graduate soon.
Okay.
And, he just started coaching. He went over to University of Barry and played college ball there.
Yeah.
And I believe played Cal and North Cobb in high school. And so he's just getting started, but he's a great coach. We also train at Velocity in Canton, Georgia with Luke and Josh, and they do a great job. They've sent guys to college and to the pros. They send a group of guys to different levels every year. So they've been doing it for a while. They know what they're talking about. And Coach G's a great coach. He's always getting us going in practice, telling us what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right. So
sounds like you have a really good relationship with a really good coach there.
Yes, sir. Sure do.
So, curious, who are your favorite players? Guys you look up to, maybe want to steal a little bit of their game to add to yours.
I think the main one's obviously Trent Williams. I think he's probably the best player in all of football, in my opinion. Just what he can do at his size, his athleticism. It's unreal. And I don't think people don't understand how impressive it really is to be doing what he's doing. But outside of that, I would say on the interior, I really like Bradley Bozeman. He talks a lot with my grandparents. He was a Bama guy. Coach Cristobal, he coached him at Alabama.
Yep.
So I've always watched Bozeman, Jason Kelsey, in my opinion, probably the best interior lineman in the league.
Yes.
So he's a good one.
Very good.
There's other guys like Joel Bitnioni with the Browns. He's a good one. He's a guard. But just a lot of NFL guys, a lot of college guys. I just try to, whenever there's a game on, I look at what the left tackle's doing, what the center's doing, what the right guard's doing, to see what I should be doing to look a lot like them.
Speaking of that and looking at multiple positions, what positions have you played on the offensive line so far?
I've been playing football since I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And I've hit every single position on the O-line.
Yeah, imagine so.
in youth, I was always a young guy. For my age group, I was 8 playing 10U ball, and sometimes I would just get stuck at one of the guards, so I would always have help with the tackle, being a smaller guy. But then growing up, I ended up being one of the biggest kids my age, and so when I'd get on the real level, I would end up being a tackle, and sometimes I was the only kid that could snap, so I'd be thrown at center. But last year, only spot I played was left tackle in high school, but I'm ready to play wherever in college.
Right on, man. Versatility is such a huge factor going forward, especially at all positions now, it seems like in college football.
It really is.
So, Bear, if you had to describe your game to somebody who's never seen your film, how would you describe your game to them?
Two biggest things is lateral quickness and flexibility. My ability to move in the box, climb to linebackers, or just set out to a blitzing corner or walk down backer. I think that goes along with feet, what I've been working with since I was little. And then flexibility, I have a stretching routine I go through every night, and it just helps getting lower, getting under pads, and it helps you being able to move. So that's the two biggest things for an offensive lineman that I've heard from coaches say. So that's the two biggest things I work on, and I think it shows in my film.
Yeah, I would. I agree with that 100%.
Thank you.
What gets you most excited on game day? It could be pregame or something that happens during the game, but what gets you really pumped up?
Then there's two things, and it's both during the game. Like D lineman makes a play and they start yapping, and it's just like, all right, it's time to go. And so that gets me in that mode. And then, let's say we start off the game, huge run up the middle. Let's say I get a pancake block. That
Yeah,
gets me fired up and like, all right, I can do this. It's gonna be an easy one. And so it's not really like it's less for me about getting hyped up before the game, getting amped up. But once it gets started and something happens, I'm in that mode.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I got 3 words for you, and of course, me being a Miami fan, kind of curious what they mean to you. Miami.
What was that? You
What is
froze.
Miami Hurricanes football? What
Yes,
do
sir.
those What do those 3 words mean to you?
I think it's really about building back up right now. You know,
Yeah.
for the team to beat. My dad always talks about growing up, and from when I've grown up, like they were good when I was smaller, and then recently they haven't been as good. And
Yeah.
just hearing all the coaches talk this past weekend, I think they're going like this, going straight up.
Awesome.
Um, they have some of the best recruiting classes. They're bringing in the best O linemen, and that's where it starts. And I think Miami's going to be one of the best programs in the country come soon. It's just a matter of time.
Man, I hope so. I truly hope so. So what's next for you in regards to football? Moving on to high school season and stuff like that. What do you got coming up next?
Well, our first day in pads is actually tomorrow.
Oh,
First,
okay.
and then we go this week, and then the next week, next Thursday, is actually our preseason scrimmage versus Cedartown. So
Okay, things are moving quick, huh?
it's here, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So week 1, I guess, will be 2 weeks from this Friday.
Yeah, man, it's moving fast. It's
It's
moving
quick.
real fast.
It is.
Well, at this point in the interview, what I like to do for recruits here is I like to give you a chance to shout out people who've helped you along the way. Coaches, trainers, family. Anybody you want to. Go ahead and show them some love.
Definitely my mom and dad and my 3 sisters. They've always supported me throughout everything. You know, when we had the conversation about being recruited to play in college and what it means to actually take that next step, they were all in with me, and that's really big. They're always willing to take me on a visit or talk to a coach, and along with that, my granddad Harvey, he takes me on visits whenever my parents can't make it. And so he's always supportive. Like other day, we had a morning practice and just helmets. We're walking through plays, and I look up, and he's just sitting there in the stands watching. So it's special. He's always been there for me and my cousin, and there's no one quite like him out there. But other than that, coaches wise, I would say Coach Hughes. He's our strength coach up at the high school, and he's more than just a coach. He's a guy I can go up to after the lift and talk to about anything I need to. Coach Gates is the same way, our head coach. He's always in the weight room, and he's always there to talk. Coach Luke at Velocity, I've been working with him since like 7th grade, and he's what showed me so much about like being what good offensive linemen really do. And just being in Velocity anytime I can get extra work. So those are the main ones. There's so many people out there that I want to thank, but I would have to have a huge list and go through all of them.
Understandable.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and let fans know your social media accounts. Where can they find you online?
My Twitter is just Bear McWhorter. Is exactly how my name is on the screen. My Instagram's the same thing, but I got hacked recently, so I had to switch it up from my original account. So it's an X instead of the O in McWhorter.
Okay.
So that's the same thing.
Okay. Good for fans to know there.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, I got one last question for you, and I'll let you get on with the rest of your night here. This is a question I ask every single recruit, trainer, coach, anybody I bring onto this show. Same question I always end it with. Bear, why do you love the game of football? Where do you get that passion to go out there and play at such a high level on a weekly basis?
I think it's inherited. You know, everyone in my family has always played football.
Okay.
My dad played at O-line at Furman University. He actually blocked for Coach Napier, the head coach at Florida.
Awesome.
So, you know, I was out the womb being thrown a football too and having to run in the yard and go almost play fetch with my dad before I could catch. And, you know, he's throw me in the 3-point stance before I could walk. And I was already taking zone steps and driving people off the ball. So it's really like since birth, and then it just continued to grow into what it is now, and to where like if I'm just sitting at home, I go throw on my cleats and get in the yard and do whatever, get extra work in. And so it's really an obsession now, but it all started from when I was born. Football
Sounds
family.
like sounds like you were bred to be playing football.
Yes, sir. I sure was.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Bear, man, just thank you so much for taking this time out of your night to let fans get a little more familiar with you. I truly appreciate it a lot.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I definitely want to stay in touch. With you being 2026, you still got a little while with your recruitment. We'll stay in touch, bring you
Yes,
back
sir.
on in the future, let fans know about your development, your recruitment, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we'll stay in touch and we'll get stuff set up for the future.
Definitely. Thank you.
You have yourself a good night, Bear. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, guys, that was 2026 offensive tackle Bear McWhorter from Cass High School in Georgia. Like I said, he is going to be one of the top 2026 offensive tackles. I have no doubt about it. It's why he's got offers from schools like Bama, Georgia, Miami, Auburn, Florida State, Florida, Mississippi. I'm sorry, I don't have the list in front of me, but I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. Even like Louisville, Georgia, if I already mentioned it. But yeah, he's got some of the top dogs already coming after him. He's got not just the elite kind of physical traits that you want to see, but he's starting to get those elite technical traits as well. And that's very special for a 2026 offensive tackle. Thank you guys for joining us for another RNG recruit interview, and we will catch you guys soon. Have a good night.